Donkey of the Day.
Look at these donkeys. Bunch of jackasses.
That's time for the Donkey of the Day.
That's pretty funny.
Charlamagne the devil?
Possibly. The Breakfast Club.
Donkey of the Day for Tuesday, March 11th. Now, today is a Donkey of the Day first because ever since yesterday on social media and today when I walked into this room, people have been saying to me, you have to give Bun B the Donkey of the Day. I'm like, what? Not the OG Bun B, one half of the legendary UGK. I graduated from the school of UGK. I'm UGK alumni. Not to mention, Bun B is one of the wisest, most intelligent men I know. I have the utmost respect for that man, but the Donkey of the Day doesn't discriminate. So I said, what did Bun B do? Well, at the press conference for Lil Boosie yesterday that our very own Angela Yee moderated, people were outraged when Bun B said this.
You'd be surprised to see how many people don't want to see a young black man come home from prison and succeed. But we're going to put an end to that kind of talk, that kind of mentality. We're going to show people the reality is that when you keep it 100 with the people will wait as long as possible to stand up for you. They waited years for Mandela. They waited years for Pimp C. They waited for Pac. And they waited for Boosie.
Now, people didn't like that statement because they said Bun B was comparing Nelson Mandela to Lil Boosie. I didn't take it as that when I heard it, and I'm a fan of Lil Boosie's music, but we all know there's no comparison between Lil Boosie and Nelson Mandela. There's no comparison between Nelson Mandela and no other man currently living on this planet. And Bun B, being the scholar and gentleman he is, I know he knows this, and I know Bun B well enough to know that he doesn't talk out his ass, and a lot of times we hear things in sound bites and don't get the full understanding of something, so I've been torn on if I should give Bun B Donkey of the Day, so I had to meditate the way Uncle Russell Simmons taught me, and as I was meditating, I heard the voice of Bun B, and it said this to me.
If ever I'm not representing like I should, Charlamagne, I'm telling you right, I would really appreciate it if a person like yourself would call me on it. We tend to just sit, look at them, shake our head, maybe laugh and talk about it behind their back, and that's not what they need, and that's not what the culture needs.
They need that donkey of the day.
They need that in their life, man. So if you ever feel I need to be a donkey, man, hit me with the hee-haw. I ain't
FYI, meditation works. Thank you, Uncle Rush. Now, the answer's coming to you so clear when you meditate, but yes, we had to get Bun B on the phone to explain himself.
Charlamagne.
Talk to me, my brother, because I come in the room today, and the first Donkey of the Day nominee I see on the wall is Bun B, and I'm like, well, what did Bun B do? And then they let me hear the audio of you comparing. I don't know if it was a comparison, but you kind of mentioned Boosie's release to the release of Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, and people think that I'm comparing Boosie to Mandela, which is ridiculous. There's no comparison if we're looking at it in that sense. What I'm doing is basically laying out how Mandela was not popular in his country at his time when he went to jail. His people stood up for him and waited for him to come home to celebrate his release. That's all I was saying. They did the same thing for Pac. They did it for Pimp. And now they're doing it for Boosie. I'm not saying that Boosie's going to win a Nobel Prize or anything. Just the fact that he's a person that wasn't popular for whatever reason at the time, but the people that did love him supported him and waited until he came home.
People were going in on you, Bun. I saw that on Twitter.
Oh, I don't care about that. It's Twitter. Who cares about what people say about you on Twitter?
In the context that you're saying it makes perfect sense to me. You know what's funny? I was sitting there having a conversation with somebody at this radio station who shall remain nameless. They was like, they don't understand all the hype surrounding Lil Boosie. I'm from South Carolina. I grew up listening to Boosie. So I was like, have you ever listened to Boosie music? And they was like, no. So I was like, well, how can you form an opinion on why people love this man so much?
Perspective is key, you know what I'm saying? And proximity is key. So it just depends on where you are and how you look at things.
Absolutely.
There were a lot of people that weren't crazy about Pac's behavior when he went to jail. Some people to this day, you can't say nothing bad about Tupac in front of.
Right.
I wouldn't mind Donkey today because ain't nobody perfect. I can understand people being maybe upset about that. I don't think people really know who Nelson Mandela was, though. You feel me?
Right.
I think people think that because they've only seen him in his older days with the gray hair and moving very slow. They don't. Nelson Mandela was a revolutionary.
Right.
He was a gangster with a gun.
So is Boosie a revolutionary? A gangster with a gun?
He's a ghetto revolutionary. Like, I have reason to believe that if Boosie comes home and says the right things right now, there's a lot of hoods in America that may calm down a little bit. Not all of them, but a couple of them.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
The Breakfast Club.